we proved that we could bleed Shimano brakes using just syringes, but let's face it, just about every Shimano bleed kit comes with a reservoir. So let's get you ready for the season. Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and once again we're going to be bleeding a Shimano Deore M615 brake system. So I had recently posted a video where we bled this exact brake using syringes for both the caliper and the lever, which is not typical. Shimano brakes usually get bled with reservoirs. Now, everything sort of went well with the bleed. There were no issues as far as air in the system when I was done. I actually tested it, but we did discover in that video that when you put a syringe in a Deore lever and you apply even the slightest amount of pressure downwards, oil can leak out of this top cap, which tells me the top cap flexes. So that's not exactly ideal. Again, the bleed worked out. We managed to make it work perfectly. There was no air after I tested it. And at the end of it all, that was the only limitation in my opinion, which really doesn't matter because again, we're able to use pressure and vacuum from the caliper, and vacuum from the lever is more than enough. Vacuum is outstanding for bleeding any kind of hydraulic systems, okay? But let's face it, when you buy a bleed kit for a Shimano brake, it's going to come with a syringe and a reservoir. So I'm sure that's what you folks have. So what we're going to do in this video is go over the process of bleeding this in order to get you guys ready for the season. All right, so let's get into the tools and parts needed for the job. As for tools, we're going to start off with the caliper. First, we need a plier to remove the cotter pin. Then we're going to take a 6 or 7 millimeter preferred, but a 6 millimeter will do, Allen in order to center the pistons best we can so we could clean the piston walls. Now in the other video I posted how to do that with CLR. I'm not going to do it in this video. Go check out that other video over there if you want to see that. We're just going to use alcohol and paper towels in this video because I already technically bled this whole system. So then we're going to put in our brake block when we are done, and we're going to move up to the lever. We're going to need a 4 millimeter Allen in order to make sure that the bleed hole in the lever is parallel with the ground. We're going to need a tape measure in order to measure the distance of the lever from the handlebar to put it back to where it was, and also any kind of marker in order to mark the lever so you can put it back to where it was is ideal. Really, you want something like that. And then a 2 millimeter Allen in order to remove the bleed screw. This is a super handy tool. Can't recommend it enough. Park Tools sells them individually. They're like $5. This is a syringe holder. It truly is a third hand. I love this tool. Great job, Park Tools, on that one. Now, if you buy a Shimano bleed kit, you're going to get a reservoir and a syringe. This is what we're going to be bleeding with in this video as opposed to the other one, which was 2 syringes. We're going to need a 7 millimeter wrench for the bleed hole, rubber band with the hose, a small brake hose in order to finalize the bleed to make sure there's no air in the caliper, alcohol, paper towels, and mineral oil. In this case, I'm using Shimano mineral oil. That's pretty much it, folks. Let's get into bleeding this brake. So the first thing we're going to do is prep the syringe, okay? Now, we don't need to fill it up. We just need a little bit of oil to start with. So push the plunger all the way down and then suck up just a little bit of oil, just like that, right? Now suck in all the oil and then turn it right side up like this and remove all the air. And we are done for the prep. Now, why did I only put a little bit of oil? Shimano wants you to fill this up to start the bleed and push all the old oil through the system into the reservoir, and I highly disagree with that. I'm a bigger fan of putting a little bit of oil in the syringe and sucking out all the old oil, all the old crap from the caliper side, because that's where all the gunk is going to sit in, guys, right? All that dark oil and all that nasty stuff is going to sit in the caliper. So I'd rather suck it out like that. So why have any oil in the syringe to start with? Well, I want good vacuum when I extract the old oil and replace it with new oil, okay? We're going to start off with removing the brake pads. Take your plier and straighten the cotter pin. Okay, sometimes this could be tricky. Just push it down, just hold it and push it, come on. Just like that, bend it up and then pull it out. And then with clean hands, clean dry gloves, take out your pads and inspect them. Now these are essentially new. All that rust, believe it or not, is probably from the calcium chloride. That stuff rusts metal like so quick. But my recommendation at the beginning of the season, if you're halfway or less pad on your brakes, on your brake pads, just change out the whole thing, right? Put a new one in for the season. Why not? They're not all that expensive and it's worth it, in my opinion. So we're going to take this, we're going to put on the side. Now we want to take off the bleed cap. Be careful. grab it from the top and the bottom. Don't try and pull it up because you could snap it. I put a new one in here last time. Put that on the side. Next, what we want to do is expose the pistons so we could clean the sides. Now, I had already done this, and if you go to the other video, it'll show you how to do it and how to do a deep clean on the piston walls. Basically, what we would do is we would take this 6mm Allen, and then we would press the brake lever and try and get as much of those pistons exposed as possible. The pistons won't fall out with a 6mm Allen, 7mm safer, right? But a 6mm Allen is more than enough. So I'm not going to go through the whole process, but the whole goal is to expose the piston walls like that, right? And then you would take alcohol, right? Spray it in there. And then you could take a brush or paper towels, right? And go in there and clean as much as you can. Try and clean the walls, right? Best you can. Then put one of these bottle brushes in there. And again, scrape on the walls and just clean those walls best you can. Again, if you have heavy buildup, you could use CLR with a Q-tip. Again, look at that other video to go into all those details, but I'm not going to do the whole thing here because we already worked on this thing, right? So now that we're done cleaning it, right? I mean, you're going to go through the whole clean process. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but ultimately, when you're done with the clean process, what we're going to do, grab a tire lever tool, plastic preferred, put the pistons back. I think I forgot this in the tool section now that I think about it, right? And then we are going to put our bleed block in, just like that. Sometimes this thing can be a bit of a pain. And now take our cotter pin. Okay, make sure it goes through both holes, these cotter pins. There we go, just like that. And the last video, I forgot to record this. What we're going to do is grab the lever and press on it and make sure that the pads are locked onto the bleed block. Next, we're going to take our syringe holder and we are going to install it on the upper part of the lower leg, just like that. We're going to take our syringe and we're going to put it in the holder, and we're going to take it and we're going to put it in there and make sure that we are nicely connected all the way down. And then in this case, I just cover it with the adapter for a better fit. Try and remove any air bubbles. Smack them. See, that's why tapping on brakes helps a lot. We don't have to worry about sucking them up now, but they're all the way at the top. Now we move to the lever. For the lever, the first thing we want to do is mark it, right? If you have a marker, take a marker and mark the handlebar to the lever. Put a line in order to know where to put it to. Or if your lever is like mine, which is literally sitting on the dropper remote and on the other side on the shifter, then I don't have to worry about it. I don't need to mark it, right? So what we do need to do, but since we're going to do it anyway, even though I'm not sure if it makes a difference on a Deore, we're going to take a measuring tape and we're going to measure the distance between the tip of the handle or the handlebar and the tip of the brake lever. In this case, it's 70mm or 7 centimeters exact. Why? Because we're going to take our 2mm Allen and put it in the screw to move out the lever all the way. If I could find it, there it is. Clockwise moves it out, move it all the way to the end. And in this case, it was literally like one turn to get that done, okay? So then what we're gonna do is take our 4mm, loosen the lever, and make sure that the bleed hole is parallel with the ground. We want it to be at the highest spot and just tighten it. Next, we're going to take our 2.5mm Allen and remove the bleed screw. Okay, when we remove it, we need to make sure that the O-ring on the end of it is on the screw. Sometimes it stays in the hole, right? So it's right here at the end of the screw that we are good. Then I'm going to take the reservoir. Now we're going to screw it on top. Be careful here, don't strip it. Just slowly do it by hand, all the way down to the end. Next, I'm going to take the plunger out of the reservoir and I'm going to fill up, this is an odd position for me, the reservoir with oil near the top, just like that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our wrench, 7mm wrench, open up the bleed screw by about 1/4 to 1/2 turn, just like that, all right? So, as I mentioned before, we're gonna start off by sucking out all the oil from the inside of the caliper and the whole system into the syringe. We're gonna fill up the syringe and replace the old oil with the new oil. Now, in this brake, it's all new oil, so you won't see a color difference. maybe a slight one, but ultimately you're not going to see a color difference. But in your brake, chances are there's going to be a big color difference. Okay, so what we're going to do is start off by vacuuming up. Just vacuum up and try and empty out the reservoir as much as you can and replace the old oil. All right. For a front brake, you don't even need a third of a syringe to be filled before all the oil is replaced, but it's good to like make sure you flush the whole thing. For a rear brake, it's about half a syringe worth, right? So now, technically, in your case, this would be all old oil. What we're gonna do is close the system. All right, we're gonna make sure it's completely closed. Then we're gonna remove the syringe. Okay, just like that. And again, in your case, this is all old oil. We're gonna empty it out and replace it halfway with, well, front brake, you don't need halfway, but replace it with new oil, at least a quarter, but halfway safer, okay? We replace the oil with new oil, and I put the syringe back into the bleed hole. It's closed, it's not open yet, okay? We're gonna do that in a second. So what we can do right now is give the system a bunch of taps to try and break up the bubbles just like we did before in the syringe, right? You could do that down here. You could do it up here. Do it in the hose. The whole idea is to break bubbles. So what we're gonna do now is we are gonna open the bleed hole, again, quarter to a halfway turn. Now, we wanna first suck up any bubbles that are gonna pop out over here based off us putting the syringe in, okay? So let's suck up first. That bubble was initially there. So we don't have any other bubbles. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna push down, okay, and try and not empty, but close to empty the reservoir, the syringe. All right, now, here's the thing. Shimano would say that's all you need to do. Not at all, folks. You are much better off using vacuum again and pushing down in order to ensure all those little areas within a brake system don't have any bubbles stuck to them or air bubbles, air pockets stuck to them. And again, tap everything as we are doing it. So I'm gonna tap as I'm sucking this up, right? Tap the top, tap the bottom. Oh, weird with my left hand. All right, so no air bubbles coming up. Now we're gonna push down again. Tap the top, tap the cable. Don't push down too hard and don't suck up too quick, right? Just take your time over here. It takes time for bubbles to go through a system. They don't just fly right up there, right? Now, what you're gonna do is repeat this, right? So I'm gonna suck up again. We're gonna repeat until we see there's absolute, look at that. Look at that. 2 little micro bubbles in there. Let's get rid of them. We wanna make sure, see, they get stuck in there. And if we tap them, they'll slowly go up if you tap them. That's where vacuum comes into play, right? Let's vacuum them up. You see it? Hopefully you can. I don't know, that's real small. But we don't want any, just went into the syringe. We don't want any bubbles in a system. So now that I saw that, I'm gonna do it a couple of more times. Down and up. Down. Let's tap it again. Use something rubbery, right? Not metal. We're just trying to create vibrations. Tap the hose. Suck it up again. There we go. We are good. All right, so once you go up and down, I don't know, a good 4 or 5 times, then you're done. Again, there's no rush here, guys. You're just doing yourself a service, right? We close the bleed port as tight as we can. Well, as tight as we can. We close it shut. And and then we remove our syringe because we are now officially done with it. So next what we're gonna do is do a final test on the system to make sure there's no air trapped on the top of the caliper over here near the bleed hole. So we're gonna take our hose, we are going to put it in the caliper. And then we're gonna take our rubber band, so tight quarters over here, and we're gonna wrap it around. Well, this is a really small, tight rubber band. We're gonna wrap it around the lever. Then we're gonna grab our 7mm and we're gonna open and close it 3 times, okay? 1, 2, and 3, and then close it for good. Then we're gonna remove the hose, just be careful with it, and dispose of the oil. Now we could go up to our lever, remove the rubber band. Next, we're gonna take our 4mm. We're gonna put it in the hole. You have no idea how backwards this is for me right now. We're gonna loosen the entire lever in order to be able to move it up and down. And what we're gonna do is, be careful over here, is press the lever in different positions to see if we could squeeze out any trapped air bubbles near the top piston area. Just keep on doing this. Just like that. And then when we're all done, no air has come out at all. Make sure it's level to the ground and tighten the screw. If you had any clue how I'm like Gumby right now. And make sure it's locked in place. Then we're going to take our plunger, stir it like that, and then block the hole at the bottom. Then remove the reservoir. Then we're going to grab our syringe, put a little drop of oil on top to make sure it's fully, the actual bleed hole is filled. And then we take our bleed screw, make sure that the seal is on it, and we screw it in place. This is about a Newton meter. The clamp on the brake lever, or at least the bolt on the brake lever, is about, I do 4 Newton meters, 4.5 max. I do not do 5. I'd rather the whole mechanism move, and this goes for all my shifters, for all my components on my handlebar. I'd rather they move in a wipeout as opposed to possibly snap off, right? Next, we're gonna take our 4mm, loosen the brake lever bolt in order to move it back to its spot. And by the way, you guys don't need this. The only reason I have a handlebar holder over here is for camera, so the bars don't move around too much, right? The only thing is everything's so in my way. So we're gonna loosen this. For me, all I need to do is put it down to where it was before. Just like that, straight down, sitting on the dropper remote. Spray some alcohol on it. Clean up any of the mineral oil that might have spilled out. And our lever is done. Next, we're gonna remove our syringe holder. Then we're gonna grab our plier, take out the cotter pin. We're gonna remove the bleed block. Sometimes it comes out easy. Sometimes it does not. Come on. Oh, look at this. There we go. Alcohol, paper towel, clean the whole caliper, clean the bleed screw, make sure the inside is all clean. There's no oil in there. Okay. Now, we're going to take alcohol. We're going to put it in our hands. If you have gloves, clean them real well, rub them real well with a clean paper towel. In order to grab your brake pads, you want to grab your brake pads with dry, clean hands. We're going to take our brake pads. We're going to put them in. Then we're going to grab our cotter pin. This might be a little bit tricky. Getting it in all the way to the end. There we go. Then we're going to grab our plier. Now, it's best to hold on to the tip of the cotter pin, pull that way, and then pull out, right? In order to get the bend close to the caliper. Well, just like that. So this way it doesn't move around as much. I mean, it'll spin like this, but it's not going to vibrate as much. And do not forget your bleed cap. And there you have it, folks. You just finished bleeding a Shimano Deore brake system, in this case an M615. Super easy job, and I cannot recommend enough learning how to bleed your own brakes. To me, it's super important. You're only going to do it once a year. Just take your time. There is no rush. Don't let anybody influence you into thinking that, you're taking too long. Take your time, get all those air bubbles out there, and you will be good. The Shimano method of bleeding, again, to me, it's old. It needs to be revised, in my opinion. Basically, I just do a combination of SRAMs and Shimanos together with the reservoir, and it works flawlessly. It has never failed me to date. So I highly recommend you just take your time and make sure all the air is out of the system by using vacuum and pressure. Do not gravity bleed. If you're a beginner and intermediate, do not gravity bleed at all. Even an expert, I don't recommend gravity bleeding to anybody. To me, it's the worst way you could actually bleed brakes. There is no guarantee that you have removed all the oil. You just think or all the air. You just think you have, okay? So just use pressure and vacuum and it will do you just fine. So all that's left now is to take your wheel, put it back on there, center your brake pads to your rotor, and you are good to go out there and have a whole bunch of fun, all right? So, folks, if you like this video, please click that like button, man. It would be super appreciated. Click that subscribe button to see more videos. Click that bell button, ding, in order to get notified when new videos get released, and more videos like this are coming. If you want to see a couple of videos right now, you can check these two out. They might be of interest. And then until the next time, I hope all is well with all of you, and we will be talking to you soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.